Please join me in welcoming our panel this morning, and I would invite Nancy and Roberto to the podium. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy.
Wow. Hi. Thank you for giving us a warm welcome. It is a pleasure for me to be here. I know that there are no need to explain the concept of ratios here, or the benefits and reasonable ratios. You know this all too well. Your successful fight for ratios was one of your great inspiration when our union beginning a similar struggle.
Good morning, everyone. I must say you guys look great, and what a pleasure for us to be here with you today. We had an exceptional professional day yesterday, and greetings from our 75,000 healthcare professionals in Quebec. As Nancy mentioned, it was through dialogue with our colleagues at a national level with Canadian Federation of Nurses Union, in which we discussed safe care ratios, as well as NSW-NMA, in which is hosting us here today, as well as NZNO in New Zealand, and also National Nurses United in the United States, which enabled us to better understand the notions of safe staffing and safe care ratios in Quebec. You've been a great inspiration for us, and we thank you. We're currently implementing 17 projects to regulate healthcare professionals to patient ratios. This is a major step forward that improves quality of care for the patients, as well as reducing the working load, and improving the working conditions of the healthcare professionals. And this is only the beginning. We'll do everything we can to ensure that safe care ratios become the norm in the province of Quebec and are guaranteed by law. Based on what we learned with our affiliated and our partners across the globe, one thing was very clear for us: these ratios had to be negotiated. Thus, in our last round of collective bargaining, we were able to ensure pilot projects with a joint committee set at the national level with the government and the FIC. In all honesty, our hope was to have 3 pilot projects by the end of our collective agreement, which was in 2020. In all honesty, this joint committee had to evaluate the feasibility of these ratios in its application. However, in the last few months, things have changed. It all happened end of January. One morning, we had a very cold winter, thus lots of snow, lots of rain, lots of ice. Our center of activities were overcrowding, our emerges were overcrowding, we had a large flu season, and one morning, a young nurse, Émilie Ricard, who had just returned from her maternity leave, a 24-year-old nurse, was totally disappointed and discouraged with her healthcare profession, her employer, and as well as the Federation. She went home after 2 weeks of intense work, where she had 3 shifts of forced overtime, thus had worked a night shift and was forced to do an additional 8-hour shift on days. Being a new mother, she went home and simply put a message on social media, while this message went viral. From there, things have changed. And what was remarkable was that for the first time in the province of Quebec, nurses from all ages began to voice their disappointment with the healthcare system. It became a huge distress across the province of what was going on with the healthcare system, a public healthcare system, a universal healthcare system. From there, it was quite clear that the healthcare minister was irritated, so we were able to reestablish communications on a daily basis. As you could see in the video, there was media coverage on a daily basis. Nurses everywhere, our affiliated unions everywhere were denouncing the unacceptable working conditions. So what began as an initial step in setting up ratios were, we were hoping for 3 projects where initial implementation to evaluate the feasibility of these ratios, we were able to negotiate 17 permanent projects where we were no longer at simply evaluating the pertinence of having ratios, but we were at the state of implementing ratios. Thus, we're working on them currently. As of April, we're setting up ratios in our surgical departments, in our medical units, as well as long-term. Currently, we're also working in implementing ratios in emergency, in private funding, long-term institutions, as well as home care and respiratory therapy. So I only have 20 seconds left, but the message that I want to bring here today is that we could never give up. This fight that we're leading is a legitimate fight, and it's in Canada, it's in Australia, North America, South America, in Europe. Nurses need to stand up once and for all, and things have to change. And the only way to improve quality of care for the population which they deserve is through safe care and safe care ratios. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nancy and Roberto. We appreciate that.